Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to 99, Chapter 3. So yeah, I just came back from meeting someone. Usually it's not really the case. Usually I'm back just from the gym, and then I usually just ate some food. But after that today, I actually met someone. Since I was looking around for some secondhand laptops, I did not actually want to bring the mini ITX PC that I have to Malaysia because it's actually a lot heavier and it's probably going to be a lot harder for me to do so since I've already explained that when I went to Vietnam like 3 weeks ago, God, they were like, what the hell is this piece of metal that you have in your backpack? It's big. So almost every time when I went to immigration, they always want to make me show what the hell it is. Because usually people don't really bring a small laptop, not laptop, sorry, a small desktop. So they're always like questioning me and stuff. A laptop is a lot more manageable. So I was like scrounging around, scrounging? Squirming? What's the word I'm looking for here? Browsing around, I guess, for some secondhand laptops that is able to record comfortably and also play games comfortably while I'm out and about. So when I'm actually at my sister's place, I might be able to record on that laptop too. And rendering a video might actually not be so bad. It's like a 7-year-old laptop or something, but it has an i7, 16 gigs of RAM, and also like a 1050. So overall, considering I only record in 1080p, 60 FPS, it's not so bad. Sorry about the whole jargon about technology, you guys might not understand that. But yeah, that was actually a pretty decent laptop. I think I got it, or not I think I got it for around 320 bucks. So a lot cheaper than what I had to pay for building that mini PC in the first place. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I probably should have actually just take a look at secondhand laptops in the first place instead of buying that PC. But you know, I actually didn't think that I would be going out and about a lot, right? So it didn't occur to me that I want a laptop. Since a couple of years back, laptops, I guess I just didn't have a good laptop, so that's why I never really like the idea of a laptop. It has battery issues, it has performance issues, so I was always like PC master race, right? But we met up, I met up with the seller, I can test it out, I was testing quite a lot, that's why it took me about 2 hours, and yeah, I got it for 320 as I said. The seller is taking it back to his place for now because he's gonna change the thermal paste for both the CPU and GPU. And I'm gonna be getting that once I actually finish recording this episode. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Sorry for the long rant. But yeah, let's actually talk about the last episode recap. So in the last episode, we met up with, after the events of what happened on the previous episode, we met up with both not Yuichi, Ghost and also Ginsan. He said that we were gonna try to bond together and also make our own codename. We got our codename, Betrayer, and we also not really found out the fact that Ghost is Yoichi's illusory body. We kinda got spoiled because of this skill or this ability we have called Overlord. At least that's what Sophie seems to suggest that we have. It's a skill that, I don't know, like Sophie doesn't even know like what artifact this is from. It's supposed to be like a legendary one. Like how the fuck, man? Like what is going on? I don't know whether or not that's true or not either, to be honest. I'm still skeptical about everything that's going on in this story. I feel like every little mystery that we know about the game is being fed to us, the answers, right? And even though I hypothesize and assume a lot of stuff, they actually can't really be verified, you know? And I don't know, I just feel like when the game is spoon-feeding you the answers, it rubs me the wrong way. And I don't know whether or not that's actually the answer. That's the thing. I feel like they're trying to mislead us into thinking that what they're feeding us is the answer, but it might not necessarily be so. But yeah, the only thing that really stood out was the fact that, you know, we got the talk with Sophie and whatnot. Before that, it was just mostly fluff with Ginsan and Ghost and also Haruka senpai. But yeah, we probably will be investigating Yoichi in this current episode, so let's start, because this is exactly right after we talk to Sophie.
はい、連絡事項は以上です。起立例は省略。気をつけて帰ってね。
Another day of school comes to a close. I put my books away and walk over to Yoichi's desk.
なあ、今日暇か？
暇だよ。何？どっか行くの？
ああ、ちょっと付き合ってくれ。
珍しいね。かけるから誘ってくれるなんて。どこ行くの？
ラウンド2。
カラオケ？ビリヤード？みんなも誘う？
いや、2人でいい。ゲーセン行きたいだけ。
ゲーセン？協力プレイでもしたいの？
ある意味協力プレイだな。ぬいぐるみ取ってほしいんだよ。
え、かけるそんな趣味あったの？
ない。妹が欲しがってるんだ。
おお、代わりに取ってあげたいけど、自分じゃ取れないと。
よいち、そういうの得意だろ？
得意なんて言ったことあるっけ？
ないけど、絶対俺よりうまそう。
何それ？まあ、苦手ではないけどさ。
頼む。妹と喧嘩しててさ。
九条さん絡みで軽蔑されてるんでしょ。
噂流した誰かのせいで。
ひどいやつもいるもんだね。
お前が言うな。
はい、すみません。
噂を流した責任と思ってぬいぐるみを取ってくれないか？
それ言われると断れないな。わかった。いいよ。
Man, Yoichi, if he is truly an evil person, he definitely plays the part of the fool very well.
ありがとう。助かる。
お金も払えとか言わないよね。
金は俺が出すよ。
ならオッケー。
Yoichi stuffs his textbooks into his bag and gets to his feet.
じゃあ行こっか。
ありがとな。
いいのいいの。ちゃんと取れたらなんかおごってよね。
いいよ。ぬいぐるみに使いすぎたらおごれなくなるかもしれんけど。
任せときなって。一発だよ、一発。
ほんとかよ。
一発は無理でも500円以内には。
頼りにしてる。
うわ、かけるからそんなこと言われたの初めてかも。よーし、頑張っちゃうぞ。
500 yen, if you can actually get one of those prizes, is actually a pretty good deal. Because I believe those prizes are about, I don't know, 2,000 yen usually, if you just try to buy them straight up. Maybe a bit more. Maybe 3,000 yen. We leave school and head to the train station. We make a beeline for round 2 without stopping for any detours.
どれが欲しいの？
どこだったかな。ああ、先に両替する。
ほいほい。
I exchange a 1,000 yen bill for 1,000 yen coins and lead Yoichi to the back of the arcade.
ああ、あった。これだ。
I stop in front of a crane game nestled against the back wall and point to the stuffed animal I want. I'm actually surprised this is not Sophie camouflaging as the stuffed animal. It's a patate tender? What the fuck? The mascot character of a certain video game. Patate tender? It's so hard to say. Patate tender. Ugh. Its purple body stands out among the mountain of brownish colored stuffed animals around it.
何あれ？レアもの？
かもな。よく知らねえけど。
あと1個しかないっぽいね。誰かに取られちゃう前に取っちゃおう。
いけそうか？
位置もいいし形も取りやすそうだしいけるんじゃない？
お願いします。
ほい。
Yoichi sucks 100 yen coins in a machine and picks one up. Sorry about that. After observe... What the? He's still going! Wow, that was a long voice line. After observing the machine for a few seconds, he tosses one coin in and immediately presses the button.
躊躇ないな。
思いっきりが大事。アームの強さはいかほどかしらと。
After a second or two, he lets go of the button and the crane arm begins to descend. He nailed the positioning. The arm grabs hold of the stuffed animal and picks it up.
やった。
マジか、すごいな。
自分でもびっくりしてる。
What? He actually got it? Yoichi squats down and grabs the stuffed animal from the slot at the bottom.
はい、妹ちゃんに。
What the fuck? That's a one shot!
ありがとう、助かった。
さーて、報酬をいただこうか。
Okay, that's actually pretty impressive. Or he might have gotten lucky. I don't know if this applies to the crane arms or the crane games in Japan, but the crane game here in Indonesia, there's like a couple of times where you have to actually play the game before the crane arm strength is actually very strong, right? It's similar to how you play probably like those machines in the casino. Like, you probably have to lose a couple of 100 times before the jackpot will win. Even then, you might not even win the jackpot, it's just a normal win.
飲み物でいいか？
だいぶお金浮いたんじゃない？
アイスもつけるよ。
やったー、どっかお店行こうよ。
コンビニで。
へえ。
ちょっと話もあるんだよ。公園で食おうぜ。
公園ってなおさらお店でいいじゃん。かける行きつけのナインボールとかあそこなら安いし。で、そうだったそうだった。九条さんと喧嘩してたんだったね。
ああ、ナインボールには行きにくい。それにどっか店入ったらなんだかんだで高くつくだろ。
はいはい、安く済ませたいってわけね。せめて好きなアイス買わせてよね。
いいよ。100円のでも暴言だっつでも何でもおごる。
イエイ、それじゃあコンビニ行こっか。
I follow Yuichi out of round 2. Okay, Kakeru, what's the plan? What are we gonna do? The first convenience store we visit doesn't have the brand Yuichi wants, so we end up making the rounds until we find one that does. By the time we have our ice cream, it's already dark out. With Yuichi's preferred chocolate mint ice cream in hand, we head to the park. We find an empty bench to sit down on and take out our ice cream and drinks.
へへ、ゴチです。
How long did we actually take finding this ice cream? Can't believe it's already evening.
まさか3つも買うとはな。
一つって言わなかったかけるが悪い。
I mean, those treats probably what? Cost 200, 300 yen at most? Well, 900 yen is still quite a bit, I suppose.
まあいいけどさ、腹壊すなよ。
平気平気、二つは持って帰るから。
What? Are you sure they're not gonna melt?
溶けるだろ。
冷凍庫に入れてまた凍らせればいいじゃん。いただきます。
Oh, he must be like getting the ice cream that's on those cups. Yuichi pops open the lid and scoops out a spoonful.
ね、話って？
Thought he was using the icicle ones, you know, with the sticks.
言ってたじゃん。話があるって。
Sighing, I pocket my phone and give Yuichi a sidelong glance. I have my confirmation already. All that's left is to pray. Pray things don't end up going in the worst direction possible.
ありがとう。もういい。
What do you mean we got our confirmation already? Is it because he looks like Ghost?
え、何が？
Yuichi gives me a blank look, then his eyes widen in surprise. Not because of what I said, but because the stuffed animal that was in my bag is now floating in the air. Oh, this is Sophie, isn't it? The potato-shaped plushie twists and warps until it's a smaller white and blue plushie with an eerie smile. Of course, the stuffed animal is none other than Sophie. I guess if Yoichi saw Sophie in this state, he would have recognized her? I don't know. Someone of her caliber can fully change the shape and appearance of her illusory body. I had her transform into that potato thing and hide among the pile of stuffed animals within the UFO catcher. All in order to check something.
見えてるな。
Duh, I mean he can see the freaking doll. Of course, I don't even need to ask. I guess that's why he won the first in one try, because clearly she wanted to get caught. Sophie lands on my hand and gives Yoichi an unreadable stare. Part of Sophie's power is that she can only be seen by users. So the fact that Yoichi could see her means he is one, without a doubt. But it looks like I don't need to go through the trouble of explaining all that to him. Yoichi's lips curl up into a mocking smile.
くだらないトラップに引っかかっちゃったな。
余一もユーザーなんだ。
そうだよ。
俺もそうだって知ってたか。
もちろん。
だったらどうして話してくれなかったんだ。どんな力か教えてくれないか。余一、お前の力はなんだ。
罪かな。
I think Sumi is punishment. Yoichi's tone is surprisingly unperturbed. After a few seconds, he looks up and meets my gaze.
どうして話してくれなかったんだ。だっけ？
ああ。
そりゃもちろん。
Yoichi smiles again, but this time it's his usual friendly smile.
僕がカケルたちの探してる魔眼のユーザーってやつだからさ。
I've been prepared for this, but I never expected he'd admit it so casually like that. I'm shaken. My chest feels tight. My breath is coming in trembling gasps.
あっさり白状して驚いてる？ごまかしても無駄でしょ。疑われた時点で終わりだよ。カケルは何か掴んでいる。だったら今ここで必死にごまかしてもどうせバレる。決定的なミスをしたつもりはないんだけど、そういうのを暴く力でも持ってるのかな。どう？
そうだな。
だよね。
Oh, sorry about that.
じゃあ罪だよ。言い訳して時間稼ぎしてもダサいだけでしょ。
Yoichi bounces to his feet, looking as cheerful as always. So what I want to know, is Yoichi the one that actually used the evil eye first on that first schoolgirl? Sophie gives him a wary look, but she stays quiet like I asked her to. I wanted to have a one-on-one talk with him. For as long as possible, anyway.
で、どうする？
どうする？
警察に突き出す？それとも僕を殺す？いや、それはないか。僕を止めるって聞くべきだったかな。
そんな言い方をするってことはまだやめる気はないってことか。
逆に聞くけど、やめると思ってんの？
That's his stigma. He looks condescendingly down at me, his stigma glowing dully. I should have known. From the very start. My half-assed hope for a peaceful conclusion would never have been granted.
だったら
I can't allow my friend to make any more mistakes.
止めるさ。
My comrades walk out from behind the trees across the plaza. Kosaka-senpai is holding her phone, which is currently on a call with mine. I asked everyone to hide close by in case things got dangerous. The only unexpected thing is Soro is with them. I told her to wait at home, but I guess she was too worried to stay behind. Yoichi shrugs and smiles ruefully. as he watches the four girls advance toward us.
だよね。やっぱり喧嘩なんて嘘だよね。
He turns back to me. He doesn't look the least bit angry or shocked that I tricked him. In fact, he doesn't look any different from usual. It's unnerving how much he's acting like the same old Yuichi. So much so that a cold lump is forming in the bottom of my stomach.
胸に惚れたとかさ、嘘でもかけるは言いそうにないから、ちょっと信じちゃったんだよね。それくらい必死なのかなって。
Okay, Yuichi definitely has control over Ghost then. Does he have full control of what Ghost knows and sees and hear?
必死ではあった。
やるね。かけるを知ってるからこそちょっと迷った。僕には効果的だったね。
Yuichi grins. From the sound of it, he knows everything Ghost knows. That more or less proves it. Ghost is Yuichi's illusory body.
一つ聞きたい。
何？
最初に石になった子は、マガンで1にした子はゴーストがやったのか。
いや、僕だよ。
I get to my feet and back up until I'm standing with my comrades. This is actually the first time we saw his feet. Yuichi, use your belt, damn it. Time to face off against Yuichi. The way he's actually using that belt like that, it will actually make his pants go down. He's no longer my friend, just the evil eyes user that we've been searching for.
犯人はお兄ちゃんのクラスメイト。
Yeah, see? If you guys wanted to say that Ghost and Yuichi has the same fucking eyes, take a look at Noah's eyes. Are you fucking sure that's not the same? Like, come on.
東大元暮らし。こんな身近にいたなんて。ですが、まさかカケル様のご友人が。でもどうして石像を見に行こうって誘ったの？深沢くんだった。どうしてそんなこと？
あんまりペラペラ喋るのは小物っぽくて嫌なんだけど、まあいっか。僕さ、小物って感じだし。初めて力を使ったからさ、証拠残しちゃったかもって不安だったんだよね。
だからあえて戻って石像に触れた。
そうそう、一人で行くのは怖いからカケルについてきてもらったんだ。九条さんまで来たのはびっくりしたけど、こんな答えで大丈夫？
That's pretty believable. Kujo seems shaken by how normal Yuichi's acting as well. If he changed his attitude and suddenly starts sounding all malicious, it would have been easier to accept that he's our enemy. But because he's still the same Yuichi I've been friends with all this time, it feels wrong somehow. It's like there's something unfathomable about him.
で、どうするの？
決まっている。あなたの罪は私たちが裁く。
そうなるよね。じゃあ僕、面倒は嫌いだから全力で逃げるよ。
逃げられると思っていますの？
どうだろう。念のため僕も仲間を呼ぼうかな。
Yuichi snaps his fingers. Ghost appears from within him, as if separating from his soul. She sticks a hand into her pocket and clicks her tongue unhappily.
ヘマしてんじゃね
See, I don't understand how illusory bodies work. Ghost was dying because she was overusing her power? But couldn't he just summon another ghost, right? Like, couldn't he just use another illusory body if that happens? I just don't understand how this illusory body skill works. This is what I don't like about the game so far. They just don't give you a lot of, like I said, a lot of details about these powers that they're using. So they can just sometimes spew bullshit and it would just fit to their narrative.
バレたのはお前のせいだろ。
あ？
かけるの質問の意味がやっとわかった。顔でバレたんだよ。似すぎなんだ僕たち。
てめえの力の使い方が下手くそだったからだろうが。
はいはい、全部僕が悪いよ。
お話中失礼ですが、5対2。 数的有利はまだこちらにありますわよ。
かけると妹ちゃんは戦闘向きの能力じゃないでしょ。九条さんもこの後に及んでオロオロしてるし、いけるっしょ。
ああ、問題ね。俺一人で。
いや、私もいる。
Well, I guess Ginsan is still backing them up. Well, he kinda knows we're fooling them, so at this point, yeah. Man, and here I thought the humorous stuff is still gonna happen. I actually enjoyed their interaction with Ginsan. A young man appears from the shadows. Appears, emerges, like, come on, make up your mind, translator. Ginsan.
その登場の仕方、流行ってんのかよ。
ワンパターンだが仕方ない。他に隠れる場所がないからな。
っていうか、なんでここにいるのさ。
その男をつけて。
Ginsan looks at me. Smiling, he raises an eyebrow.
何を驚いている。信頼されていると思っていたのか。ベトレイヤー。
You're still calling me by my code name though. So he gave me that nickname knowing I turned on him too. I'm a little disappointed. I thought he was a good person deep down.
これで3人。数の上ではまだ不利だ。
I mean, he is still a good person. He's sticking to his own beliefs. Like, Takeru.
あのさ、レンヤ。
なんだ。
一応言っておくけど、僕殺人犯だよ。
知ったことか。
Chuckling, Ginsan walks forward. He comes to a stop next to Yoichi. His intention's clear. Is he gonna like hug him or something? What the? Come on!
我らが真なるリグベーダ。リグベーダアスラなり。
Why are you still doing this, Ginsan?
だっせ。
ヨイチ、君がリーダー。君に従う。
そんなものに担ぎ上げられても困るけど。
Yoichi scratches his head in annoyance. It seems Yoichi and Ginsan know each other. I guess he had Ghost be part of Rigveda to look for users without revealing his own identity. Not that any of that matters now. So I still don't understand how Ginsan was able to use the Evil Eye's power on Sora's route. Like, I kind of get that Ghost is familiar, but Ginsan didn't even know that Yoichi is the user of the Evil Eye before now. For the first time, I'm angry. Not only is he adamantly refusing to stop using his powers to kill, he doesn't even seem happy that there's people backing him up.
そっち側でいいのか。ヨイチ、
え、何が？
そっちにいていいのかよ、お前は。
かけるって性善説とか信じてるタイプ？
は？
人を石にするなんて理由があったはずだ。人を殺すなんてどうにもならない事情があったはずだ。なければいけない。そんなことを考えてたりする？
Well, maybe. I don't think people are inherently good, but I would have thought that too, myself.
理由があったとしても許されることじゃない。でも人を殺したんだ。何か事情が。
ねえ。
Yoichi callously cuts me off. At long last, I'm starting to see. I finally caught a glimpse of the darkness lurking deep within Yoichi.
力があるから使った。それだけだよ。
人を殺す力をか。
結果的にそうなっただけ。九条さんと何が違うっていうのさ。
Okay, I guess this is where they're gonna bring up the fact that, you know, the pyromaniac guy died.
学校が火の海になった時、九条さん使ったよね。力を使ってユーザーの暴走を止めた。そっちの先輩も九方の子も妹ちゃんも好きに力を使ってる。タケルだってそうでしょ。どうして僕だけ責めるのさ。
Okay, he's only referring to the fact that we use our powers.
何言ってんだお前。全然違うだろ。
何が？
人を殺してんだぞ。
だから それがどうしたの？
少しはないのかよ、罪悪感とか。
かけるはコントローラーのボタンを押すたびにいちいち胸を痛めるの？経験値のために殺しちゃったって。
I mean, I guess that's how he views these people. Come on, Yuichi. You're getting into third-rate villainy here.
ゲーム感覚で人を。目がマジだ。何が悪いのって顔してる。でも私が知っている深澤君はもしかしてアーティファクトの影響で。
No, he probably just has some sort of deep darkness.
だから違うって。意外と九条さん頭悪いな。これが僕の巣だよ。
でも問答は無駄。あの男は。
Noah takes a step forward. Her stigma begins to glow in one eye.
悪そのものよ。
かもね。そうなるのかも。
ね、どうすんだ。その悪そのものってやつを前にしてよ。
言ったでしょ、裁くと。ずっと力を正しく使いたいと思っていた。きっと今がその時。
This is kind of reminding me of like this manga that I used to read. It's made by the same guy who made Kaguya. I think it's Eep Instant Bullet. And like in that story, the main character is actually, you know, somewhat the villain, I guess. But turns out it's the main heroine that's the villain. So the main heroine wanted to become the villain because yeah, she wants to be stopped so that, and like the main, like it's kind of hard for me to explain. It's been a long time since I read that manga, but basically these characters, they got powers and they want to have adversaries, right? So the main character wants to be a hero, the main heroine wants to become a villain. So they both kind of complement each other, right? The main heroine can become a villain, and then the main character can become a hero, so they can use their powers for both justice and evil and whatnot. And they're both very happy about the fact that they can use those powers.
私何もできないけど、でもあの人放っておいちゃダメな気がする。同感ですわね、かける様。語学友と戦う覚悟はありまして。
できています。あいつがまた犠牲者を出そうとしているのなら、俺たちがお前を止める。
めんどくさい展開になってきた。熱血だね。
いいじゃねえか。俺は好きだぜ、こういう展開。
ここは私に任せてもらおう。
あ、なんでだよ。
君たちが出る幕でもないだろう。火の粉は私が払う。任せてくれ。
お好きにどうぞ。
ち、俺がやっちまった方が早えのに。
だろうな。
Ginsun boldly steps forward. He's brimming with confidence.
最初に宣言しておこう。私はゴースト、いや、余市の完全なる介護官。つまり、私は弱い。甘く見積もっても、余市の2割といったところだ。だが、そんな私でも。
Wow, we suck.
諸君を制圧することは。
I guess he's pretty confident with his physical capabilities. Damn, you suck, Kakeru. There's a dull pain spreading to my stomach. All the air's been knocked out of my lungs. What the hell just happened? He closed the distance between us in an instant.
騒ぐな、覚悟の上だろ。
オーダーアクティブ。射程圏内けど。
遅い。
Wait, can he use all of the abilities that Ghosts can? What's going on? It seems like he's using that same wind power that Ghost has. I dropped to my knees and watched helplessly as Ginsan takes out my friends one after another. I thought he was in front of me, but then a split second later, he showed up behind Sora and threw her to the ground. Also the teleportation one. Then he thrust his hand out at Noah and Kujo and flung something at them that made them both stagger back. Shit! He's strong!
さて、あと一人。
空間跳躍に何らかの遠距離攻撃。外傷はなさそうですから物理的な攻撃ではないようですわね。
冷静に分析か。存外君はクレバー。
いいえ、怒りに煮えたぎっていますわ。ですが私の仕事は確実な勝利の未来をつかむこと。とはいえ残念ながら今はその時ではないようです。
ほう。ではどうする？
お好きにどうぞ。煮るなり焼くなり。
潔いな。では望み通りにしてやろう。
Spears shoot out of Ginsan's fist, piercing Senpai's chest. She lurches backwards and falls to her knees. We're done for. Wait, no. It's not over yet.
無様な。我らの敵ではないな。バルハラソサイエティ。
何カッコつけてやがる。てめえアホかよ。手の内さらしまくりやがって。
まあいいんじゃないの。ただ
一発食らっただけで。
その通りですわ。勝った気になられても困りますわね。あなたたちは私たちが裁く。その運命は覆らない。ああ、クソ痛かった。絶対仕返ししてやる。アーティファクトさえ分かれば。
やり方がぬるい。
Are they like sharing their powers? I don't know. I guess technically if one of them each has one artifact, they could share each of their powers and whatnot. But I don't know what's going on actually. And like I said, it doesn't, it feels weird that maybe Ghost actually shared all of her powers to you know, Ginsan, and then Ginsan with his own artifact shared that power with Ghost, and then Ghost also shared that power with Yoichi. That might make sense because if all of them have artifacts, that is 3 artifacts in total. So 1 wind, 1 teleportation, and 1 evil eye. Countless spears rain down, piercing our bodies numerous times. We all collapse, raising tiny puffs of dust as we hit the dirt. My consciousness is starting to fade.
どうせなら徹底的にやろうよ。手加減しちゃ失礼だよ。
す
ならやれよ。てめえこそ手加減しやがって。
さすがにそれは無理でしょ。時間がかかりすぎる。人目もあるし。
ま、そうだな。さっさと消えるか。
Can't they actually just kill us with the wind thing?
よいち。
ほう、立つか。
待てよ。
さすがにうざったいよ、かける。
The moment Yoichi's stigma appears, my body freezes. I can't move. It's like I've been paralyzed. The glow of his stigma, or rather the glint in his eyes, is mesmerizing. I can't look away.
分かってるだろ。僕が逃げようとしているのはかけるたちが怖いからじゃない。これ以上騒ぎたくないからだ。
And why is that?
でももういいか。どうせバレちゃってるわけだし、 人目を気にしても仕方ないし。
Exactly.
分かったよ。待てって言うなら待つよ。かけるが石になるまで。
Cold sweat pours down my back. Yoichi's serious about killing me. I can tell from the look in his eyes. I'm gonna die. Just as that thought flashes through my mind. Alright, thanks, Sophie. Something pops up between me and Yoichi, freeing me from my paralysis. Sophie's blocking his gaze from reaching me.
約束通り最後まで手出しはしないであげたかったけど、ここまでね。勝てないわよ、あなたじゃ。
そうだよ、かける。引き際はしっかり見極めないとね。まあ、逃げるのは僕だけど。
The bloodlust vanishes from Yoichi's eyes, and his usual cheerful smile returns.
じゃあね。また会うことになるから、またねって言った方がいいか。それと学校も休むからさ、先生には適当に言っといて。それじゃあまたね、かける。次は殺す。
よいち
You could have just killed us right now, Yoichi. I still don't understand why they're not killing us right here and now. Yeah, sure, he can't use the petrification stuff, but he can still use the wind. Or, you know, you don't even have to do a freaking superpower at this point. We're clearly overwhelmed by their physical prowess. Just fucking punch us to death. And you know, at the very end, you can use the petrification magic when we're unconscious. I don't know how that works though. Maybe we can still make them petrified if they're unconscious by opening up their eyes? I don't know. By the time I finish saying his name, he's gone. Ginsan and Ghost have vanished too. All three of them escaped in an instant. I slam my fist into the ground. Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't just kill us right here from the beginning. I feel like that's weird. I couldn't do a damn thing. Senpai stirs as she regains consciousness. Now isn't the time to be wallowing in regret.
俺は大丈夫です。先輩こそ。
私も平気です。みんなは気を失ってるけれど心配しなくていいわよ。じきに目覚める。
This is why you're a third-rate villain, Yuichi. You know, if I would really wanted to be a villain, once they were actually passed out, I would have just kicked their fucking heads in until, you know, their skull caved in. I think I'm actually capable of that if I'm a villain. But, you know, I am not a villain. So that's why I didn't do so. But yeah, if I was actually, you know, if I clearly saw someone being a potential threat to my well-being, I would have done so. Maybe Yoichi's just being overconfident, I don't know. Just as Sophie said, everyone else wakes up a few seconds later. However, no one gets to their feet. None of them have the strength left to stand.
もしかして気絶してた？マジで？そのまま休んでいた方がいいわよ。かけるとはるか以外は対抗力があまり強くないよね。抵抗することもできなかったなんて。悔しいけれど乾杯ね。
You can say that again. We didn't even get a single hit in. In the end, we let a murderer run free. I stagger over to the bench we were sitting on earlier and look down at it. The convenience store bag's gone. I can just imagine Yoichi saying, "Gotcha." It's hard to believe the guy who always used to flash me that playful smile is the same one who looked at me with such cold eyes. I mean, I'm not really all that surprised in this turn, in this development. I definitely feel like everyone always has a darkness inside of them, right? That they never really showcase to anyone. That's why I'm always skeptical about everyone in, the characters in a story. Heck, I don't even think it only applies to stories. I think I'm pretty much like that towards everyone in general in real life too. Even as sad as it is to say, even to my own family. Which one is the real Yoichi? Actually, they're probably both the real Yoichi. He just had never shown me that side of him until now. I clench my fists. This is the worst possible outcome. Ghost is Yoichi's illusory body. Yoichi is the Evil Eye's user. And worst of all, we lost. Noah says despondently as our drinks arrive. In all honesty, we should probably all have gone straight home to rest. But none of us could put what happened to the back of our minds so easily. We couldn't bring ourselves to go home just like that. So we decided to go somewhere to talk. Even though we all know that discussing the situation won't help.
まずはあの男司令官の能力瞬間移動槍を飛ばす遠距離攻撃
介護官って言ってたけど魔眼の弱いバージョンも持ってたりするのかな。
そう考えた方がいいかも。
そうね。逆に言えば司令官が所持している力は他の2人も使用できる。っていうか私らは槍を飛ばされただけだけどニーにだけ思いっきり殴られてなかった？
ああ、思いっきりな。
I rubbed my stomach. His punch left a bruise I checked Oh, sorry. A bruise I checked earlier.
強烈だった。たった一発で息が苦しくなって。我ながら情けないな。
Wouldn't blame you, Kakeru. It's not like you're a sports person.
私も同じ。一瞬で距離を詰められたことに動揺して反応が遅れてしまった。
私も覚悟していたつもりなのに全然足りなかった。ごめんなさい。
いや、そんな謝ることじゃ。
日頃から腹筋鍛えておきなさいよ、腹筋を。
みぞおちだぞ。鍛えてもどうにもなんねえよ。急所だぞ、急所。マジで気を失うかと思ったわ。っていうか、みんなは怪我してないんだよな。
No, I actually think you can actually brace yourself, and if you do brace yourself, even if you get hit by the solar plexus, you can still withstand it.
あ、大丈夫。
But then again, I guess Kakeru wouldn't have known that he was gonna just teleport in front of him.
ゲーム的に言うと物理攻撃じゃなくて MP ダメージって感じなのかな。あざとかもできてないっぽいし。
じゃあ本気で殴られたのは俺だけか。一応男と女で線引きしてるわけだ。
すっごい綺麗に殴られたよね。なんか型みたいな格ゲーみたいな技だった。型。あの男の体さばき見覚えがある。何か武術をたしなんでいるのかもしれない。
魔人流古武術。
The fuck are you talking about?
まさか魔人都市。
はい、そうです。三日月深夜の。
I guess it's the anime.
なんすかこの達人同士の会話みたいな。
高峰くん、魔人都市って作品も好きで。
Oh, it's a different anime.
ああ、アニメ的な。
はい、そうです。急にすみません。
魔人流古武術はその登場人物三日月深夜が用いる武術。いえ、暗殺術よ。
アニメの武術を会得しているってことですか？ でもただの見よう見まねじゃなくて完璧にコピーするために空手と少林寺拳法とあと骨法も習ったって言ってました。
I know about karate and kempo. I don't know about koppo. First time I've heard of that martial arts.
うわ、ただのオタクじゃなくて普通に強いんじゃん。
ベースとなった武術も三日月深夜と全く同じね。
はい、多分ナイフは使わないと思うんですが。
作中でナイフを使ったのはたったの2回。わざわざ言及するなんて。あなた詳しいのね。
はい、私も好きなので。
今度ゆっくりと語り合いましょう。
はい。
妙なきっかけで友情が芽生えたな。
っていうか年上に対してもスタンスを崩さない結城先輩がすげえ。
お前も意外と平気そうだな。
え、いや全然平気じゃないよ。割とビビってるよ。でもなんか圧倒的敗北すぎて実感がない感じ。
Can anyone talk, please?
これは雰囲気を盛り下げましたね。すみません。
いえ、現実を直視するのは大切なこと。私の G オーダーの弱点が浮き彫りになった。
弱点。アーティファクトの形状が分かっていないと奪えないから。私の力何の役にも立たなかった。
私も能力発動にいくつか処理すべきプロセスがある。処理してしまえば無敵と断言できるけれど、
ああやって速攻されると間に合わないと。
そうね。
私の力はユーザーには少し効きが弱い気がします。ただ高峰君ならなんとかできそうでした。そこで高峰君を倒す未来を実現させても他の2人にも同じことができるか分かりませんでした。だからもう一人の私は能力を見せない方がいいって判断したみたいで、ごめんなさい。ただ見ているだけで。
Nah, don't worry. I think that's smart.
いいえ、正しい判断だった。結果的に私たちは手の内をさらさずに済んだ。
瞬間移動ができるならすぐに逃げられたはず。それをしなかったのは私たちの能力を確認したかったかもしれません。でもその必要がないほど力の差があるって分かった。
だからとどめを刺さずに消えた。
Yeah, I guess it's all about, overconfidence yet again. I really hate this. Like, why can't villains be actual villains, you know? Yoichi was just menacing. He was bluffing, man. Like, if you really want to be a villain, go be a fucking villain. Don't be like this third-rate villain where they don't just destroy everything just at the top. Destroy everything to the roots.
そういうことなのかもしれません。ニーニ的にはどうなの？あの人ってどんな人なの？
わかんねえな。今はあいつのことが何もわからない。
そっか。まあしかしあれだね、お兄様。
なんだ？
私の能力はゴーストって人に通用しないのはもう確認済みじゃん。
ああ。
ニーニの力は戦闘向きじゃなくて完全な後方支援タイプじゃん。しかも制御できてないじゃん。
まあな。
ニーニ兄弟、 今後役立たずなのでは？
Yes.
言うな。今それは言うな。
空はともかくかけるの力が鍵になりそうよ。
What, my choices? Sophie suddenly winks into existence. Why is she so tiny? But compared to usual, she looks...
なんかやけに小さいな。
姿を隠しているとはいえ念のためよ。面倒だから自己紹介は省かせてもらうわよ。
Kosaka-senpai and Noah nod. I've already told them about Sophie and they saw what she looks like earlier, so they're not too surprised by her sudden appearance. After Yuichi and the others left, I asked Sophie to tail them, but...
結論から言うと見失ったわ。あの子かなり厄介ね。こっちの世界の住人とは思えないくらいアーティファクトの扱いに慣れている。
アーティファクトの力で姿を隠しているってことか。
少し違うわね。探知能力を持つアーティファクトをか乱し逃れているのよ。こうなると一筋縄ではいかないわね。
So is that another artifact? Is that a jammer?
か乱のアーティファクトってことは、少なくとも4つは持ってるってこと？
他にも隠し持っていると考えた方がいいかもしれないわね。
何それずるっ！私たちは一つずつなのにどうしてこんなにも差が。数多くのアーティファクトに選ばれる素質があったか、あるいは奪ったか。奪った。私と同じような力を持っているってことでしょうか？違う。能力で一時的に奪うんじゃない。未来永劫所有権を奪うのよ。所有者を殺してね。殺して？ええ、殺して。強制的に契約を結ぶ方法があるの。あなたたちに教える気はないけれど。
Sophie glances at me. She's already explained that method to me, but I guess this means she wants me to keep quiet about it. I don't know why, but I assume she has her reasons. I give her a small nod and she turns back to the others.
その方法を知っているのでしょうね。あの子はどういうわけか。
Why is she like hiding the fact that there's the radical, part of the Sephiroth in this timeline though?
つまり人を石にして殺しているのは単なる好奇心だけではなく生物を収集するため。
そう考えるのが妥当でしょうね。もしかして報道とかされてないだけでもっと犠牲者がいるかもしれないの？あのアーティファクトの数を考えるとありえると思います。いくらなんでも邪悪すぎない？もしそうだとしたらヤバすぎるよ、あの人。あ、ごめんお兄ちゃん。
ん？何が？
友達のこと悪く言いすぎた。
確かに友達だけど、あいつは自白した。自分が殺人犯だって。しかも理由なく何人も殺してるかもしれない。いくら友達でも擁護しようがねえだろ。空の言う通りだよ。
No, he definitely has a reason for it, I think. This is gonna be one of those games where he's probably lying about his motives throughout the whole game.
あいつは邪悪だ。
No, as I said, Kakiru, if he is truly evil, he would have killed you then and there and then took all of your artifacts. That's what I would have done. Sora gives me a worried look. I meant everything I just said from the bottom of my heart. Of course, there's still a part of me that wants to believe we can talk this out. But I know we're well past that now. We've got to stop Yuichi no matter what it takes. The question is, how? It's frustrating to admit, but I'm powerless. I'm sure everyone else feels just as powerless right now too. A heavy silence falls over our table. Eventually, Noah, the only one among us who doesn't look depressed, raises a hand for attention.
いいかしら。エルフヘイムの妖精よ。聞こえていないのかしら。
ソフィーさん。
今の私のことだったの？
多分。
独特な表現を使うわね、この子。意味不明だったから聞き流しちゃったわ。
一つ聞きたいことが。
何かしら？
魔眼の男が複数の生異物を所持している。故に複数の能力を使用できる。それは理解した。でも他の二人が劣化しているとはいえ同じ能力を使用できるのはなぜ？
原体は本体の延長上だから同じ力を使用できる。レンヤって子にはヨイチって子が貸してあげたんでしょうね、力を。
So doesn't that mean that they're lying to us when Yoichi... So Ginsan already knew that Yoichi was real then in the last chapter. So his powers were borrowed from Yoichi then. It's kind of weird though because we gave him the ambrosia, right? Last time. And I forgot whether or not we actually found any artifacts at the end. So does that mean that only Yoichi is actually in possession of all the artifacts and he was just making everyone a familiar? I don't know. Makes sense, I guess.
そんなことができるんですか？
できる。力の使用権限を他者にも与えることがね。眷属化っていうの。
じゃあさ、みんなで力をシェアしたら私らも結構いい線いけるんじゃないの？ミーヤンと私も戦えるよ。
方法を教えるつもりはない。
なんで？
死にたくないでしょ？
Sora falls silent. I guess the burden having multiple artifacts and powers would be quite tremendous. So what Yoichi is doing is extremely dangerous then.
とにかく黙りがちだし、今日は帰って休みなさい。このまま話していても無駄よ。
そうね。また後日集まりましょう。
じゃあ今日は
お疲れした。
どうしました？
私ちゃっかり同席しちゃってますけど、皆さんの仲間にしていただいてもいいでしょうか？
もうそのつもり。
ありがとうございます。
Senpai smiles and bows her head. Everyone returns her smile as they welcome her to the group.
それじゃあお先に。何かあったらいつでも呼んでちょうだい。
なんかやけに協力的だな。
魔眼のユーザーを特定できたのは今のところこの枝だけ。さすがに本腰入れるわよ。疑問があれば答えてあげる。もちろん答えられることだけだけれど。
わかった。ありがとう。
じゃあね。しっかり休むのよ。
Sophie vanishes through a tear in space and returns to her own world. There's a shit ton of stuff I still want to know, but for now, I should probably just go home.
出ましょう。
割り勘だよね。財布。
まとめて払っとくから、先出てて。
お願いします。これ私の分。
ああ、うん。ちょうど。
私は後で払いましょう。後で
行きましょう。
Everyone gets up and leaves while I take the bill to the register. Once I paid, I follow everyone out the door.
気をつけて帰れよ。
Look at all this. Look at all these girls. The girls in her harem. Damn.
分かってるってば。お父さんが迎えに来てくれるから大丈夫。
I think I've said this before, but didn't all of the girls have some sort of hairpin in their hair? What? Why does Sora not have it? Or maybe it only happens when she's at a certain angle. Huh. I know for a fact that I said that before, that they all use some sort of hairpin.
ゆうきさんも電車ですか？
いえ、私は徒歩。
うち近いんですね。高坂先輩は私と同じ方面ですよね、電車。はい、多分。ニーにゆうき先輩送ってあげたら？徒歩なの2人だけだし。
ああ、そうだな。家どっち？
あっち。
うちと真逆だな。まあ、いっか。
わざわざ送ってもらう必要はない。一人でも二人でも大差ないでしょうし。
まあ、5人でボロ負けしてますしね。
ええ。それに、相手は転移が可能。警戒しようがない。
確かにな。自分の部屋すら安全とは言えない。
お兄ちゃんもうちに帰ってきたら一人暮らしよりマシでしょ？
そうだな。考えとくよ。
じゃあ、今日はお疲れ様。また後日集まりましょう。
ああ、また。
お疲れ様でした。ゆうきさん、途中まで一緒に。同じ方向なので。
ええ。
にーに、寄り道すんなよ。気をつけて帰れよ。
わかってるって。先輩も、また。
はい。おやすみなさい。行きましょっか、先輩。はい。
What's with that look? I say my farewells and start on the road home. I don't really think about anything in particular. Just slowly walk toward my apartment. I guess she's, worried about us? Occasionally, I glance up at the stars twinkling in the distant night sky, but that's about it. After a few minutes, I notice there's someone following behind me. Their footsteps sound rather hurried. People often go for jogs around here, and it's not rare to see a jogger at this time of night. I move to one edge of the sidewalk to give whoever it is a wide berth. Berth? I've never seen that word, god damn it. I get that it's some sort of space, but come on. To my surprise, however, they come to a halt right behind me. Just as I'm about to look over my shoulder to see who it is, I feel a hand tug on my sleeve.
あれ、先輩？
You good?
大丈夫っすか？
すみません。走ってきたので。ちょっとすみません。落ち着きます。
You good? People are probably into that. I'm not really into ASMR or whatever, but yeah. Not lolly breathing 10 hours on repeat on YouTube. She puts a hand on her chest and takes a few deep breaths. I notice my gaze is being drawn to her boobs again, and I hurriedly look away. I'm kind of amazed I still have it in me to care about boobs after what happened today.
すみません。もう大丈夫です。
どうしました？ああ、俺の部屋に忘れ物とか。
いえ、少し歩きませんか？
はい。
What's your game here, Haruka? The two of us aimlessly wander the moonlit streets. Neither of us say anything, but I'm sure Senpai ran after me because she wants to talk to me about something. The whole time we've been walking, she's been sneaking sidelong glances at me. Eventually, we end up somewhere close to the shrine. It's not until we're on a street devoid of people that Senpai finally breaks the silence.
はい。
大丈夫ですか？
ああ、怪我とかはしてないですよ。
いえ、そういうことではなくて、とても落ち込んでいるように見えて。
Well, Kakeru probably thinks that he knows Yoichi and he does think of him as a friend. So he's probably kinda hurt. Man, am I really that heartless? I don't really care too much whether or not, like, say, my friend... You know, if I were in Kakeru's shoes, I wouldn't really care too much. As I said though, it's because, in my mind, I'm a pretty skeptical person, so... I can't really trust someone as easily as Kakeru does. I overthink way too much, so... At the off chance that the worst case scenario does happen, like, I'm already prepared. But, like, you know, my mind is already prepared for it. It's very hard for me to get down on something. Get down about something. Unless it's just my, you know, my own mental state nagging at me. Like, usually, if it's something else, like, you know, someone or something, it usually doesn't really make me all that down. Unless it's something that you know, I have no control over, like someone close to me died or something. But even then, would I really feel all that sad? I don't know. I actually don't know. Maybe I definitely would have felt unhappy or sad, but guess it needs to happen first before I can actually voice out my thoughts on the matter. I finally understand what she's getting at. It took a second, but I got it. I see. So she's worried about me.
それで戻ってきてくれたんですか？
すみません、おせっかいだと思ったんですが。
いえ、ありがとうございます。でも多分、はい、平気だと思います。
本当ですか？私、友達いないから想像することしかできないですけど、友達が敵になっちゃって、あっちはためらいもなかったら、きっと平気じゃいられないだろうなって。だから私が何かできるわけでもないんですけれど。
Maybe at some point I will regain my empathy towards people again.
本当に平気ですか？
陽一と知り合ったの白線に入学してからなんですよ。付き合いはたったの1年です。
はい。
だからあいつのこと深く知っているわけでもないし、あれが素のあいつだったって分かってもショックではありますけど、それほどでもっていうか。
I mean, I was that person in high school who never really showed my true, like, self in high school, and I got by 3 years without actually having anyone that I can say is a good friend. So, I don't know. Maybe I relate more to Yoichi than I do to Kakeru, to be honest.
先輩と一緒で、俺も友達いないんですよ。全然いません。団体行動が苦手で、いつも一人でしかめっ面。友達作ろうともせず、それでいいとも思っていて、無理に作らなくてもいいよなって一匹狼気取って、そんな俺に最初に声をかけてくれたのが陽一でした。
Yeah, I definitely was the Yoichi in, you know, in high school. Kind of person that would actually talk to people that are clearly lonely Or, you know, the kind of guy who wants to put everyone in the same group and whatnot. So if like a guy is seems alone, I would try to talk to them to make them join us. But that's why I probably can relate to Yuichi a tiny bit more. Never really feel like I can, you know, just showcase how I am to a specific person.
俺がめんどくさそうにしてもそっけなくしても笑顔で絡んでくるんですよね。他に仲いいやついるのに昼飯は毎回俺と一緒だったり、クラスのみんなで遊びに行く時も毎回声をかけてくるし、文化祭とかでも微妙に馴染んでない俺にちょっと面倒な仕事を回すんですよ。そのせいでなんか妙に頼られちまって、あの時だけは人気者だったな俺。余一が絡んでくれたから俺は孤立しなかった。不愛想だけど根はいいやつみたいなポジションでいられた。
親友だったんですね。
どうかな、あいつはどう思っていたのかわかんないですけど、でもいいやつなんですよあいつ。気が利く友達思いのいいやつなんです。
I wonder if people actually thought of me that way. I never really thought of myself in that regard, like at all. The reason why I do what I did was because I'm the type of person that just, I don't know, like I just like the more the merrier, right? That was really my thought when I approached those people who are usually lonesome.
なのにやっぱりショックなのかもな。
There's a lump in my throat. At some point, I must have stopped walking, because I suddenly find myself standing still. I unclenched the fist I didn't know I was making and looked down at my sweaty palm.
アーティファクトのせいでおかしくなってるなら目を覚ませてやるって闘志を燃やせた。付き合いが長ければ俺が正してやるって、そんな使命感も持てたかもしれない。でもあいつは誰に操られたわけでもなく自分の意志で人を殺した。正してやるなんて言えるほど俺はあいつのことを知らない。悔しいですね。すごく。拳を
Sorry about that.
どこに振り下ろせばいいのかわからない。
Well, I know for a fact that some people are going to force their ideal version of themselves on someone else. Or, you know, ideal versions of others on themselves, Kakeru. So in my opinion, if you do want Yoichi to be, you know, the Yoichi in your mind, just do so. Punch him because he's not being the Yoichi that you want him to be. Sometimes that's actually a good case to do.
そもそも振り下ろしたところで俺の力じゃあいつに届かない。
Wow, I can't believe it. It's 5:11 p.m. guys, and the guy outside is actually using his metal grinder again. Like, holy shit, this guy! At what time does this guy not use his metal grinder? Is it like at 2 a.m. in the morning? Jesus.
今の俺じゃ届かない。悔しいですね。すごく。何か。
Oh, sorry guys.
陽一が何か闇を抱えていたのなら俺が気づいてやりたかった。俺が。
No, dude, don't let it get to you. If there is a dark past, he clearly didn't want to show it to you.
かける様。
I'm suddenly enveloped in a warm, soft sensation. Senpai is hugging me.
本当はもう一人の私がこうしてあげたかったそうなのですが、勇気が出なかったそうなので。
I'm too taken aback to respond. Senpai's embrace is gentle. If I wanted to, I could easily shake her off. Despite how embarrassing this is, I don't feel like moving.
リーダーは結城さんだと聞いていますが、実質のリーダーはかける様ですわね。
そうですか。
はい。九条さんも空さんもかける様のことをとても信頼しているのが伝わってきます。もちろん私ももう一人の私も。結城さんはつかみどころがない方なので分かりかねますが。
That elicits a weak smile out of me. On an unrelated note, Senpai smells really nice. I can feel myself finally starting to relax.
女性ばかりのチームです。殿方はかける様のみ。なかなか弱みは見せられないことでしょう。
You know, this act of like hugging or embracing someone, it's actually an act that I don't think I get often. The last hug that I can actually remember was from my sister, and that was maybe about, I don't know, 15 years ago? I think it left an impression on me because that was the last time I ever got hugged by someone. And that was back when I was still in middle school. Like, the act of a physical embrace does give you a sense of like a secure, not security, like a sense of, you know, that you're being safely protected, right? And I can understand that it's something that has emotional value, but as someone who doesn't really get hugged all that often, I can only rationalize that, I don't know, I feel like it's not really as significant as most people seem to say it is. Or maybe I'm just, you know, looking at this from a very detached perspective.
ですが、気づいていらっしゃいました？実は私、唯一の3年生、一番年上なんです。
Senpai tightens her embrace. I can hear a faint thumping noise in my ears. It's her heartbeat.
友人のいない私では、気持ちはわかります。などとはとても言えません。ですが、自分に置き換えることはできます。かける様が余一さんにそうしていただいたように、かける様も私に手を差し伸べてくださいました。大げさなとおっしゃるかもしれませんが、私と、そしてもう一人の私にとっては大事件でした。
Well, in the other route, Sora, you reached your hand out to Sora, but you clearly did not have the same sort of feelings toward her. I kind of, what is it? I kind of find it strange. I feel like her feelings are manufactured by the author here. It doesn't fall in line with what happened in reality. In another timeline, of course. I'm the type of person that would always try to make correlations to consistency in people in other routes and stuff, guys. So that's why I feel like that's actually really important in writing a character. So that's why I find this scene very unrealistic, because she's not being consistent.
あなた様に惹かれてしまうくらい。今のは聞き流してくださいまし。
Smiling, Senpai pats my head. It's a little embarrassing, but at the same time, it's comforting.
かける様が手を差し伸べてくださらなければ、リグベードとして私は司令官さんたちと共に余一さんの隣にいたでしょうね。
Yeah, because it's inconsistent since in the Sora route or in the Sora chapter, she was still fixated on us, even though we barely did anything. Like, what's with the affection? We did jack shit, right? You can say that she's consistent in all the routes that she does like Kakeru, but what did Kakeru do in all of those other routes? Like, I see nothing. I don't see anything that would make her like us at all.
断ることもできず、ずるずると悪事に加担していたかもしれません。かける様は私たちを正しい道へと導いてくださいました。そんなかける様が悪の道に進んでしまったらと思うと胸が張り裂けそうです。考えたくもありませんわ。一人で受け止めるにはあまりにも辛い現実です。
Senpai hugs me even tighter. It's getting kinda hard to breathe. However, it's also making me feel reassured.
どうか辛い時は甘えてくださいましね。今度は私の番。私があなた様の力になる番ですわ。他の方々もかける様が弱みを見せたとしても落胆などしないでしょう。敵は兄弟です。我々は手も足も出ませんでした。だからこそみんなで頑張りましょうね、かける様。
はい、ありがとうございます。
どういたしまして。
はい、そろそろ恥ずかしいっすね。
まあせっかくいい雰囲気でしたのに。
だからこそですかね。
このまま押し倒していただいても構いませんよ。
いやいや、外ですからね。っていうか、ちょいちょい人の気配が。
You people in anime, or I guess in erogaze, really need to be a lot more shameful. Come on, guys.
そうですわね。何人も通っていますわね。
いや、大丈夫っす。もう大丈夫っす。落ち着いたっす。
残念。
Somewhat reluctantly, I extricate myself from Senpai's warm embrace. Extricate. Jesus, these words.
ありがとうございました。だいぶ前向きになれました。
お役に立てたなら何よりですわ。
だよな。へこんでる場合じゃないよな。これ以上罪を重ねさせちゃいけない。
Yeah, if you do care so much about him, Kakeru, bring him to the right path that you clearly think is the right path.
強くならなくちゃ。みんなで。
ええ。しかし偉そうに申しましたが、もう一人の私の心の弱さも問題ですわね。自分にできないことは何でも私に押し付けて。そろそろ変わりますわ。あの子にも自分の言葉で話していただきませんと。
The moment she switches back, Senpai's face turns red. She starts waving her hands frantically through the air. A hodgepodge. I feel like I've seen that word, but I have absolutely no idea what it means. Of emotions flashing through flashing across her face. I guess a mixture? Hodgepodge?
ごめんなさい。急にごめんなさい。私、ごめんなさい。
そんなに謝らなくていいですから。ありがとうございます。励ましてくれて。
Affection, huh? I guess my family really doesn't show their affection all that much. I don't know, I guess most families don't really do so though, or maybe I'm generalizing. I feel like most people would actually understand my point of view a lot more than the fact that, I don't know, maybe I'm trying to find grace in the fact that, you know, people would understand me more than the fact that embracing is a natural occurring thing that families do.
なんだかその雰囲気に流されたというか、勝手に盛り上がってしまったというか。
じゃあ流されついでに俺もいいですか？
はい。
俺たち友達って言えるほどお互いのこと知らないですけど、でも仲間です。大事な。一緒に強くなりましょう。次こそあいつらを倒して止めましょう。人が石になるなんてふざけた事件、俺たちで終わらせましょう。
Smiling, Senpai nods. It's then that she notices I'm holding my hand out to her. For a second, she looks at it blankly, but then she realizes the meaning behind the gesture. She reaches out to shake my hand, then suddenly draws back. After vigorously wiping her hands down on her skirt, she finally grabs mine. I give her hand a firm squeeze, and she smiles bashfully at me.
改めてこれからよろしくお願いします。
Wait, is this gonna be the opening? I just realized that we haven't gone and get the opening for this chapter yet, guys.
はい、お願いします。私、頑張ります。
Senpai shakes her hand up and down, then suddenly realizes she's still holding on to mine.
すみません、興奮しました。
いえ、先輩意外と感情表現がストレートなんでなんか安心します。
すみません。恥ずかしい。本当、恥ずかしい。
俺もいつも言い方悪くてすみません。それじゃああまり遅くなる前に駅に。
新見かけるさん、そして高坂遥さんですね。
Is that Miss Naruse? Doesn't sound like Satsuki. Who is this? Confused, the two of us turn toward the direction of the voice. Oh, it is her. She doesn't sound like Satsuki, I swear. A woman is standing a short distance away, where the street lamp's illumination doesn't reach. As she makes her way toward us, her silhouette gradually becomes more distinct. To my surprise, the owner of the voice is someone I recognize.
先生。
Well, that's weird. She looks different from normal. Her usual languid demeanor is gone, replaced by something much more disciplined. Is she being possessed by something? Also, what was with that question? She knows what our names are, and she never refers to me by my full name. I step protectively in front of Senpai, who looks frightened by the drastic change in our teacher. She takes a few more steps toward us. It's only when she steps into the light that we notice. Our eyes go wide.
お二人に
There's a stigma on her forehead.
お話があります。
Alright, opening. I don't think she's a dangerous person. She was clearly trying to say something to us. She didn't really need to show her stigma though, but I guess she wanted to show us that she's a user. Yeah, that's Satsuki.
Why did that have to show that CG?
Alright, who the hell are you, Satsuki? Guess we're gonna have a flashback with that scene. We'll see, I suppose. Another sleepless night passes. The only spoiler that I could see on that opening was the fact that Haruka was gonna use her full power, which is why her stigma was all over her body. But, I mean, after we saw Sora did so, we already know that it was also going to happen to Haruka. I was tired as hell last night, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't fall asleep. I lazed around in my bed until late, but in the end, I gave up and decided to start my day. I've washed my face and brushed my teeth, but I still don't feel any better. There's this deep-set exhaustion that's sunk into my bones. Also, my stomach still hurts like hell. I pull up my shirt in front of the mirror to check on it. The bruising is gone, but it's a little red. It's still a little red. Frowning, I pull my shirt back down. Discovering Yuichi's true identity was a pretty big shock. But to my surprise, I'm also hung up over the fact that I was down for the count after one hit. Especially since that made me look lame in front of a bunch of girls. I mean, just goes to show that you are lame, Kakeru. You don't look lame, you are lame. Sighing, I grab a jelly drink out of the fridge and head back to the living room. My phone's blinking. I reach out and check my messages. There's a text from Sora saying, "What do you want to do today?" Judging by the number of red message notifications next to it, everyone else is already awake. Maybe they're like me and couldn't fall asleep last night. Who suggests meeting up in the afternoon? Kosaka-senpai and Noah voiced their agreement. Just as I'm about to say I'm fine with that too, a spatial rift appears above my table.
やめておきなさい。
Sophie's sudden outburst takes me by surprise. Seeing me gasp, Sophie gives me an exasperated look.
何よ、寝ぼけてる？
ああ、いや、おはよ
おはよう。今日も集まるつもり？
う。そういう流れにはなってるけど。
しっかりと休んだ方がいいわよ。
けど、
気持ちはわかるけれど、魂へのダメージは見た目でわからない分厄介なのよ。回復しているつもりでもそうじゃなかったりする。どうせまだ疲れが残っているんでしょ。
まあ、少し。
学校は？
ああ、休み。今日明日は。
だったら2日間ゆっくり休んでリフレッシュしなさい。どうせ集まったところでそんな陰気な顔していちゃ何も進展しないわよ。
かもな。
話し合うのは気持ちが前向きになってから。いい？
わかったよ。
よろしい。じゃあね。
I actually thought she was gonna say something about, she saw the future and that meeting would have been a disaster or something. But she's actually just giving us advice. Satisfied, Sophie vanishes. For a moment, I hesitate. But in the end, I decide to do as Sophie says. Sophie said we should all rest today. The red message checkmark pops up almost instantly, and everyone agrees to postpone the meeting. The fact that they were all willing to drop the idea so quickly means they're probably as exhausted as I am. Even so,
休むにしても。
just drink some melatonin or something, Kakeru. You clearly need some more rest. I grab my phone and plop back down onto my bed. How can I rest in a situation like this? My classmate's a murderer, and when we try to stop him, we got our asses handed to us. Plus, my phone buzzes, the tone telling me it's a direct message and not a text in the group chat. It's from Senpai. You want to talk about what happened yesterday? yesterday, we had a completely unexpected encounter.
どうぞこちらへ。
Ignoring our confusion, Miss Naruse strides into the shrine.
成瀬先生ですよね。
そのはずですけ
先生もユーザーだったって。
ど。いえ、知りませんでした。
ですよね。いつもアンニュイな雰囲気ですけど、なんだか。
とりあえず行ってみましょうか。
Why didn't she show herself in the last route? I'm trying to understand that. We chase after Miss Naruse. After making sure we're following behind her, she turns back around and heads deeper into the shrine. She comes to a stop in a dark corner of the grounds. Her faintly glowing stigma is the only thing illuminating the area. Senpai and I are both wearing tense expressions on our faces. This is just too weird.
突然のことで驚いたことでしょう。
She smiles gently at us. We're standing close enough that we can just barely make out each other's expressions.
もっと落ち着ける場所でお話しするべきなのでしょうが、彼女の家族の前でできる話ではありませんので、ご容赦ください。
Yeah, so she is possessed. When she says her, she points to her own chest. I knew it.
先生の姿をした現代。
いいえ、体は成瀬さつきさんご本人ですよ。
Yeah, I kind of already read too many stories about, angels being able to possess you and whatnot, guys. I'm not really all that surprised by this development.
私みたいにアーティファクトの力で人格を？それも少々違いますね。私はこの体をお借りしているに過ぎません。
借りる？
申し遅れました。私はイーリスと申します。
I see.
イーリスさん？メビウスの？
白水川の伝承ご存知ですか？
はい。アニメで興味を持って調べたりしたのである程度は。
1000年前白水川を襲った最悪、それを鎮めたのがイーリスです。つまりこの白田つくも神社に祀られている
神様？
Senpai shrinks back in awe. Honestly, I'm pretty shaken too. Iris. According to the records I borrowed from Miss Naruse a while back, she's a god. Is this really the same Iris? Yeah, we definitely already went through the records with Sora in this timeline, I believe. She was supposed to have lived 1,000 years ago. If it actually is the Iris of legend, then is she here to bring the situation under control, just like she did in the past? Is that why she approached us? Also, why is she using Miss Naruse's body? I don't get what's going on at all. While we're still speechless, Miss Naruse, or rather Iris, gives us a kind smile and begins talking.
順を追って説明させていただきたいところですが、長々と立ち話に付き合わせるのは忍びないですし、何より信用などできないでしょう。
So I guess this is why
設定です。
Miss Naruse is way over here. I actually thought she would have been also an antagonist, but I guess she is a protagonist somewhat. But I don't know, I'm still skeptical. We'll see. I don't truly believe that Iris is all sunshines and rainbow myself.
ですから今はたった一つだけソフィーティアと名乗る女性にご注意を。
Now I'm even more confused. Fortunately, it seems there's more to Iris's warning.
彼女の目的はアーティファクトの回収です。そのためにあなた方と協力している。そうですね。
I'm starting to think that the previous route when we saw Yoichi, it was actually Sophie, but it was actually from a different timeline, which is the future when Sophie's actually cooperating with Yoichi, I guess. Is that what's going on? It might be.
はい、そうです。
So this Sophie is clearly the Sophie that was from, you know, all of the linear timelines that we've been to. But the last cliffhanger might have been a Sophie that we don't know.
彼女の協力者はあなた方だけですか？
いや、他にも3人います。
失礼。正確にお伺いします。彼女の協力者はあなたとその仲間の方々だけですか？
In this timeline, yes. I finally understand what Iris is getting at. Until now, the thought never even crossed my mind that Sophie might be working with other people as well. Yeah, the reason why Sophie would have known about Yoichi, that might have been the future. That might actually be after she knows about this branch, and then she actually approached Yoichi instead of us. I think that might be what's going on. Yeah, I guess that might be the fourth game then. When Yoichi and Sophie are working together. But I still have no idea who the hell is working together with Yoichi right now though. There must be someone who told him how to make familiars and stuff.
彼女は手段を選びません。そういう女性です。アーティファクトを効率よく回収するために様々な策を講じていることでしょう。その一つがあなた方。そして
Iris trails off. It's obvious what she's implying. A lot of the things I had been thinking were strange suddenly make sense now. Iris smiles brightly, satisfied that she got her message across.
今日はここまでといたします。どうか私のことはお仲間にはご内密に。
どうして？
こちらにもいろいろと都合が。またお話ししましょう。かけるさん、はるかさん。
いや、
I still don't trust you too though, Iris.
では、さようなら。どうか判断を誤らぬよう。
Is the right choice meaning that I should join up with you? I make the right choices, Iris. You're not gonna force me to, you know, choose the right choice based on your perspective. Iris walks off before we can get a word in edgewise. All we can do is watch blankly as she heads inside Miss Narse's house. Guess she was using an artifact that controls someone's body.
神様まで登場するなんて、なんだか大変なことに。
そうですね。余計にややこしくなってきました。
ですよね。
She's definitely an integral part of the story though, considering she's in the opening.
送ります。駅まで。
駅、はい、ありがとうございます。
行きましょう。
はい。
We exit the shrine and start walking to the station. Our thoughts are such a mess that neither of us know what to say, so we make the trip in silence. When we're almost there, Senpai quietly mutters,
他の協力者ってリグベーダの人たちのことですよね。
Well, so far, those are the only guys we know that are artifact users themselves.
ですね。多分。
Or rather, Yoichi specifically. There's something that's been on my mind. Back in the park, when Sophie transformed back to her usual stuffed animal form, Yoichi didn't look too surprised. He just laughed it off, saying he couldn't believe he fell for such a stupid trap. The fact that he used the word trap is significant too. That means Yuichi knew that only users could see Sophie, and realized that I'd used that property to check whether or not he was a user. Most importantly though, Yuichi was aware of the term we'd been using for him, the Evil Eyes user. That was an internal nickname that neither I nor anyone else had said in front of Yuichi before. True. So does that mean that Sophie didn't even need to know who the artifact user is? And she's already been in contact with him since the beginning? Could be true too, I don't know. But somehow he knew it. The only logical explanation is that he's in contact with someone from the other world just like we are. I guess right now what's going on is that Sophie might still be contemplating about who to support. So there's probably a timeline where she's supporting Yuichi, and there's also a timeline where the one that we see, the timeline that she's actually supporting us. And she still doesn't know who to actually fully commit to. That's probably what's going on. At least that's what I believe. Back then, I had wondered why he seemed to know so much about us. I figured someone must have been providing him our info. If he really does have a connection to Sophie, that would go a long way toward explaining Yuichi's reactions. It's a plausible theory at least. It would account for why he wasn't startled when he saw Sophie, and why he knew so much about us. Well, in this timeline, Sophie didn't tell us about the Sephiroth's radical faction, so Kakeru doesn't know about this yet. Or maybe the radical faction thing might have been just a bluff, and she was clearly lying. At this point, I don't really know who to trust. But if Sophie is working with him, that raises new questions. What exactly is Sophie after? Assuming she's telling the truth, I haven't discovered that Yuichi is the Evil Eyes user in any other branch. With her artifact, she should now be aware of that fact in every branch. Her goal is to collect all the artifacts that spilled into this world. It's possible that she's tolerating Yuichi's murders, or at least his murders of other users, to make that goal easier for her. Then, once he's done enough, she'll have us defeat him and collect his evil eye as well. After that, we'll voluntarily give our artifacts over to her, so she doesn't need to worry about us. For the sake of argument, let's assume that's what her plan is. But in that case, there's a number of things that don't make sense. Firstly, if Sophie knew Yuichi was the Evil Eyes user from the start, why didn't she lead us to him right away? Was it because she knew we couldn't beat him as we are, and was waiting for us to grow stronger? No, that can't be it. Sophie isn't trying to help us hone our abilities. She didn't even tell us how to make familiars, which would have been an easy way to boost our strength. Exactly. That kinda makes me think that she is still, you know, the fact that there are two factions in the Sephiroth is still a believable thing. She actually is a moderate faction-like person. Besides, if she was actively trying to prevent us from discovering Yuichi's identity too soon, she would have come up with some excuse for why she couldn't go along with my plan to expose him. There's too much we don't know. And we're at the fucking third game! That's why I'm so confused about this game. Like, there's actually so many questions, and yet the answers are only spoon-fed to us. And all of my, like, assumptions never really seem to hit the right mark. I kinda don't like that. What is it Sophie's really after? Likewise, what's Iris's goal here? If she's the god who resolved the crisis 1,000 years ago, why is she dropping us cryptic hints instead of taking action herself? Senpai glances at me, likely worried by my extended silence. I want to say something to dispel the dark mood, but nothing comes to mind. In the end, we say Salin all the way to the station.
それじゃあ、今日はありがとうございました。
はい。イーリスさんのこと。
Should I call her Iris instead of Iris? I don't know, Iris just is just a lot more natural for me to say when I see that word. So I'm just gonna keep calling her Iris.
はい。
信用してもいいんでしょうか？
Still a question mark for now, Haruka.
ご注意をなんて言われましたけど、ソフィーさんのこと悪い人には思えなくて。
You don't need to be a bad person to make morally ambiguous, decisions. Senpai is right. Sophie's been nothing but cooperative so far. Despite all her grumbling, she's listened to all of my requests so far. If we're willing to take her at her word, then the reason she didn't teach us how to make familiars is also because she's concerned about our well-being. That said, it's true she's hiding a lot of things from us. There's more than a few important things she's unwilling to talk about. Then again, is Iris any different? I'm grateful for the warning, but it's pretty fishy how she's dropping these vague hints to try and win us over to her side without saying anything concrete. Hell, there's no guarantee she's the real Iris even. Also, why does she want us to keep her existence a secret from the others? All her actions reek of suspicion. We don't know enough to know who to trust.
今は何とも言えないですね。多少なりとも付き合いがある分、ソフィー寄りではありますが。
ですよね。言われた通り秘密に。
I believe, yeah, that's the smart decision.
話したいところですが、どういう結果を招くかわかりませんからね。慎重に行動したいですね。
わかりました。じゃあしばらくはみんなには。
そうですね。はい。もう少し状況がはっきりするまでは黙っていましょう。
I assume we actually will start before we met Iris in the next game. And in that game, we actually don't have Haruka with us, so she doesn't even know about Iris. I assume. This is just an assumption so far.
はい。少し後ろめたいですけど、でも私と新見さんの2人だけの秘密なんてなんだかドキドキ。
急にどうしました？
いえ、今の言わなくてよかったというか、不謹慎というか、すみません。本当、私思いつきで話しちゃって。
I guess, yeah, the reason why she doesn't really talk is because she tends to voice out her, I guess you can say impure thoughts. Blushing, Senpai flails her arms wildly. Frankly, I'm fine with her having no filter. It's the moments when she suddenly cuts herself off that surprise me more. She's so spontaneous that I'm never bored when I'm around her. Watching her emotions switch from one extreme to the other at the drop of a hat is pretty entertaining. I feel a little better now that she's lightened the mood.
今日は本当にありがとうございました。二人で調べてみましょう。イーリスのこと。
はい。2人で。はい。2人で。
Well, I can't be too sure if that's gonna be where the fourth game starts though. I believe the games so far, I only have the Sora chapter to base it on. I believe Sora's chapter was this game's beginning was before Sora's chapter got into the opening. So maybe we might have to go back a bit more on the last game. Well, I say last game, but there's another extra game that I assume is the epilogue to all of the games.
じゃあ今度こそ本当に帰ります。はい。おやすみなさい。
おやすみなさい。
She bows and I nod my head back at her. We do our usual exchange of nods and bows, then Senpai heads inside the station. First Yuichi, then Iris, and now... Be wary of the woman named Sophie. Not gonna say that word. It's too much of a mouthful. I can't get those words out of my head. It's not as though I trust Iris, but... It's also true that Sophie and I haven't exactly built up a relationship of trust. I need to speak with Miss Naruse, or rather Iris again. I text Senpai telling her I'm down to talk. We make plans to meet at the train station around noon, and I put my phone down next to my pillow. I may as well try and sleep until then. It probably won't do me any good, but my head's too foggy to think straight right now. Even if I can't fall asleep, I can at least close my eyes for a bit. Just for a second. Alright, I believe this is actually where I'm going to call it an episode. I thought that I was gonna do it until the next day happens, but turns out that that whole flashback was actually quite a lengthy scene. And I'm exactly at 2 hours right now. So I feel like if I do more than this, I would need to have maybe an extra 30 minutes or so. But yeah, I do think I enjoy the story. It's just, as I said, I feel like the reason why my assumptions have been missing the mark is that we just don't have enough details about the story. Like, they're purposely hiding a lot of the facts, and that's why we can't really make a rational hypothesis about what's going to happen. I feel a bit cheaped out on this mystery of the game. Not that it's necessarily bad, I just feel like it's cheap storytelling by doing so. Because they don't lay out the facts for us to hypothesize what's going to happen in the story. Like, the only thing that I was right about was the fact that Yoichi might have been a villain. And that was just random intuition because I thought that, yeah, Yoichi was, you know, very high up in the voice lines here, so he must be someone quite important. But that's about the only thing that I was right about. I guess we'll have to see. Like, so far I'm enjoying this, but I feel like I don't know how far I'm going to enjoy the seriousness of this third chapter. Because I was very enjoying the humorous stuff that happened with Ginsan, like the past episode. But oh well, we'll have to see, as I said. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Give this video a like if you guys like it. Sub if you guys haven't. Patreon will be getting these episodes early access along with everything uncensored. Don't worry guys, no need for uncensoring anything just yet. Probably just like all of the previous chapters, I'm gonna be uncensoring stuff at earliest episode 6. Maybe 7 if you're like Sora. But yeah, for people on YouTube that aren't on Patreon just yet, feel free to become a free member because that's gonna be where I put first episode previews of future playthroughs. So for people on Patreon, I might not see you guys in about 2 weeks because next week, or not next week, but in like 3 days, I'll be going to Malaysia. And even though I will be bringing my laptop, I might not necessarily be able to record. So we'll have to see whether or not I can record. I should be able to, but the thing is, it'll be pretty awkward recording and then having an H scene while while my nieces and my sister are there. So that's the reason why. Like, if I was just recording a story without any sort of H scenes, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if they were looking at me when there's no H scene whatsoever. But if there is an H scene, I feel like I couldn't do so. That's the thing. But yeah, so tomorrow is gonna be Amayui for people on Patreon. People on YouTube, you guys have probably already seen Amayui to completion before this playthrough is even up. So no need to worry about it there. I'm gonna also try to finish up Amayui on tomorrow's recording session because I might not be able to record on the 27th. So yeah, with that being the case, I hope you guys have an enjoyable day, an enjoyable time. I will see you guys on the next one. I'm very hungry, guys.